the fourth season of the Apple TV Plus science fiction hit serial for all mankind, and it is finally upon us. The Apple TV Plus series is built on the premise of an alternate reality where the Russians reach the moon before the Americans, thereby continuing the space race. Season 3 of the show revolve around the race to Mars between both the United States and Russia along with a privately funded, Tesla-like company called Helios Aerospace. All three organizations have shuttles making their way to the Red Planet, and it's a thrilling and well-paced batch of 10 episodes. Main characters Ed Baldwin, Joel Kinnaman, Karen Baldwin, Shantel VanSanten, Ellen Wilson, Jodi Balfour, Margo Madison, Wrenn Schmidt, Molly Cobb, Sonya Walger, and Danielle Poole, Krys Marshall. All return along with a handful of new characters and have unique storylines that are expertly brought together by the end of the season by showrunners Ronald D, Matt Wolpert, and Ben Nedivi. Here are the things that you need to remember from Season 3 before we dive into Season 4. The race for Mars has a surprising twist ending. While Ed Baldwin is heading up the privately funded Helios Aerospace shuttle and its crew, Danielle Poole has been appointed by Margo and NASA to command the United States ship, which was also joined by a Russian ship in a race to Mars. In a situation where it was going to be an either/or between Ed and Danielle to lead the NASA crew, both ended up getting to make the mission when Ed joined his ex-wife Karen VanSanten, who has been hired by Dev Ias, Eddie Gathagi, to be a part of his upstart group at Helios and their ship called Phoenix. Dev has forced both the US and Russia to push their launch dates up by a full 2 years as he believes he can have his rocket ready to go the soonest. So both countries have scrambled to assemble space-worthy shuttles and capable crews to compete with the wild card Ias at Helios. The result is a mad dash for Mars that literally comes down to hours and a few days as all three are leaving at the same time. The trio of ship's jockeys for the lead, with all three appearing to be on pace to win the race at one point. But ultimately it is Danielle and the NASA team of Americans that get there ahead of the other two. But in a beautiful twist ending, we are introduced to a fourth party that has apparently been there and done that. The Koreans have had a man named Lee Young-gil, C.S. Lee, on Mars for several months, but it appears that he has been stranded there long enough to become suicidal and lose touch with reality. The Helios crew takes him in before he can shoot himself. It turns out that the Korean astronaut was the first person on Mars. This will be a development to watch for in Season 4, and what's next for all the people that have reached the planet. Over the course of Season 3, we see the two sons of astronauts Gordo and Tracy Stevens both cope with the death of their parents at the end of Season 2 during an accident on the moon at Jamestown. Both are struggling to find their way, but the younger of the two boys, Jimmy Zachary Reisinger, has gotten involved with a violent anti-establishment and anti-NASA group. He is aimless now that his hero parents are gone and falls in with a militant group that is planning an attack on the Johnson Space Center. Karen has established herself as a savvy businesswoman and lead recruiter for the new Helios company, and she is on the verge of replacing Dev as the CEO at Helios. When combined with the fact that she has moved on from Ed Baldwin and is remarried, it makes her tragic death at the end of episode 10 that much more surprising and sad when a bomb explodes at JSC and Karen is killed when she gets trapped underneath the debris and rubble. She has been a stalwart throughout the 30 episodes, and it's going to be interesting to see how they move along without her as a sort of conduit between Ed and Dev at Helios. How will Ed react, and what will become of Dev and Helios in Season 4? These questions will also be explored. Margo has been the director of operations at NASA for over 15 years by the time Season 3 comes to a close. She has been laser-focused and dedicated to advancing the American space program while also bringing up a protege in a young and brilliant engineer named Aleida Rosales Coral Pena. When she is exposed for sharing top-secret NASA rocket information with her Russian friend Sergei Nikolov Pyotr Adamchik, it appears as if she is fired from her nearly 3-decade-long stint at NASA. The final shot of Season 3 is of her pulling the blinds back in her somewhat Spartan new home to reveal a panoramic view of what looks to be a city in Russia and most likely Moscow. The question heading into Season 4 will be, who is she working for? Has Margo defected and is now serving in the same capacity for the Russian aeronautic equivalent of NASA? Has she become some sort of asset for one or both of the superpowers' intelligence agencies? This is something that will be examined very quickly when Season 3 premieres on November 10th.